Hybe's statement revealed that Jungkook's recent achievements had officially entered international music records as the first solo artist from South Korea to maintain simultaneous chart dominance in the US, Europe, and Asia for consecutive months. That phrasing might sound corporate, but behind it lies something deeper: the global acknowledgement that Jungkook's music had reached universality, not just as K-pop, not as an offshoot of BTS fame, but as music itself. When a company like Hybe speaks, it speaks strategically. Every word is crafted for impact, every sentence meant to shape perception. But this time, something felt different. The tone wasn't just promotional, it was reverent. It acknowledged Jungkook not merely as an artist under their management, but as an individual who had surpassed the framework of the agency. Hybe's board reportedly approved a dedicated global division that centers around Jungkook's future activities, a first in the company's structure. That move alone signaled that they no longer viewed him as just part of a group or as a solo act needing corporate direction. Instead, Hybe positioned Jungkook as an independent global figure whose career must now be treated as a historical and financial priority. The emotion behind this isn't about pride, it's about inevitability. For years, Jungkook's success seemed to defy the timing of the industry. He released 7, 3D, and other projects that didn't just top charts, they stayed there, against Western competition that had dominated for decades. Each song extended beyond Korean fandoms, entering playlists of people who didn't even know what BTS stood for. Hybe's announcement was, in essence, an admission. Jungkook is no longer just a part of the system. He is the system now, the axis around which Hybe's global influence revolves. Hybe has celebrated milestones before Billboard rankings, sold out stadiums, cultural awards. But this one stands apart because it recognizes individual transformation. Jungkook isn't being praised as a symbol of Korean success. He's being acknowledged as a global phenomenon who redefines what that success even means. This distinction matters. In the past, K-pop companies have treated individual stardom cautiously, fearing imbalance within groups. But Jungkook's evolution is beyond that dynamic. His presence in Western media, his global collaborations, and his universal performance style have placed him in a category that's impossible to replicate. The Hybe announcement didn't simply highlight numbers, it celebrated identity. It was a recognition that Jungkook himself is a new cultural institution. Industry analysts have quietly said what fans have known for years. Jungkook's trajectory is rare. It's not manufactured fame, it's earned dominance. His performances consistently blur language barriers. His music production choices appeal to multiple demographics, and his branding collaborations, especially with Calvin Klein, redefine what it means to merge fashion and music into a single persona. Hybe knows the weight of that. Their announcement marked the official beginning of what some insiders call the Jungkook era, a phase where the company no longer defines Jungkook's career, but Jungkook defines the company's future direction. The announcement implicitly challenged a long-standing misconception about K-pop, that it's confined to group identity and synchronized image-making. Jungkook's rise shattered that formula. He proved that artistry can exist within and beyond the system, that a Korean artist can dominate the world stage through pure skill, not merely cultural novelty. His achievements are quantifiable, but their meaning goes far beyond data. Hybe's statement noted that Jungkook's global streaming and chart presence now outpaces the company's combined metrics across all other solo acts. That figure alone would be shocking, but it's the context that makes it historic. It means Jungkook has effectively rewritten what a solo career from a K-pop background can look like. The timing of the announcement was deliberate. It came right as Western media began drawing comparisons between Jungkook and established global icons. The implication was clear. Jungkook no longer needs validation from those systems. He has built one of his own. Hybe confirmed that Jungkook will now lead a global creative partnership program, working directly with international producers, directors and brands, a privilege previously reserved for Western superstars. This is not about fame, it's about cultural ownership. It's about a Korean artist stepping into global artistic leadership without needing translation or mediation. Behind the statistics and the corporate tone lies something profoundly human. The story of a young man who began as a trainee and is now rewriting entertainment history. Hybe's announcement didn't just celebrate numbers. It honored endurance, evolution, and integrity. Jungkook's career has never relied on controversy or manipulation. His success comes from an unmistakable consistency, his perfectionism, his live performance standard, and his emotional precision in music. Fans feel that, critics recognize it, and even competitors respect it. Hybe's acknowledgement felt almost like a confession that the company's global credibility now rests upon one person's authenticity. For years, Jungkook carried the expectation of being the golden maknae, a phrase that followed him through every BTS era. But now that label feels outdated. The Hybe announcement makes it clear. Jungkook is not the golden maknae, he's the foundation of modern Korean global artistry. There's a quiet irony here. While Jungkook's fame grew beyond measurable scale, his public image remained grounded. He never chased global validation through spectacle or drama. He let his work speak, and that's precisely why it resonated. Hybe's official statement finally mirrored that truth. Greatness doesn't need amplification. It demands acknowledgement. Many observers noted that this announcement didn't just celebrate Jungkook, it subtly shifted power dynamics inside Hybe. For the first time, a single artist's influence was framed as equal to, if not greater than, the corporate brand itself. The move was bold. In traditional entertainment models, agencies maintain dominance over their artists. But Hybe's latest message implies a paradigm shift. Jungkook isn't just their star, he's their legacy. The announcement effectively acknowledged that without Jungkook's global resonance, Hybe's international identity might not hold its current position. It's rare for a company to publicly center its prestige around one artist, but this was more than marketing, it was necessity. Jungkook's continued global visibility, his brand deals, his digital dominance, and his unparalleled live appeal have become the backbone of Hybe's market credibility. Recognizing that reality publicly was not only honest, it was historic. When the announcement concluded, it left behind a sense of closure, not an ending, but a recognition of a new chapter. The world had already known Jungkook was exceptional, but now it was official. His impact is measurable history. Every outlet that reported the news used different headlines but carried the same undertone that this was a once-in-a-generation moment. Fans cried, critics debated, and analysts tried to quantify what had just happened. But in truth, this was never about numbers. It was about validation, not from the industry, but from the very institution that once shaped him. Hybe didn't make Jungkook great. Jungkook made Hybe believe in greatness. This moment forced the world to rethink power in the entertainment industry. In traditional models, corporations shaped artists, defining their paths and controlling their reach. But Jungkook inverted that hierarchy. His individual influence has grown so immense that Hybe's global standing now moves in tandem with his career choices. Every partnership he accepts, every performance he delivers, and every word he speaks generates measurable economic and cultural ripple effects. Hybe's acknowledgement wasn't only emotional, it was strategic. By aligning itself so publicly with Jungkook's achievements, Hybe essentially ensured that its own global identity remains relevant through him. But what's extraordinary is how Jungkook continues to handle this power. Not with ego, but with precision. What Jungkook did after the announcement says more about his character than any corporate press release could. He didn't make a dramatic statement or issue a celebratory post. He maintained the same calm demeanor he always had, working, preparing, and refining his art. That silence was louder than any reaction. While fans celebrated and global outlets discussed his impact, Jungkook went straight back to doing what he always does. Practicing, recording, creating. It wasn't indifference, it was discipline. It was a message to both his company and his audience that even when history is made, the work doesn't stop. This quiet strength defines Jungkook's legacy. He doesn't build hype through noise, he builds it through results. Hybe's announcement reflected years of silent work, years of perfectionism that fans witnessed in studio documentaries, live rehearsals, and interviews where he spoke about never being satisfied with his performance. He once said in an early interview, "If I start to believe I've done enough, I'll stop improving." That philosophy explains why his career continues to rise beyond measurable limits. Even when the world celebrates him, Jungkook views it as another reason to evolve. In the days following Hybe's declaration, global publications began using a phrase rarely applied to a K-pop artist, a generational turning point. For decades, the Western market dictated what global pop sounded like, how artists should perform, and what success looked like. Jungkook dismantled that paradigm by existing. Hybe's announcement legitimized something that audiences already knew intuitively, that Jungkook is no longer competing within K-pop. He's competing above it. His artistry, his precision, and his charisma have turned him into a cultural hybrid, not confined by geography, genre, or even language. That's why the announcement felt historic. It wasn't just Hybe validating his achievements, it was Korea's music industry being globally recognized through one artist who refused to compromise his authenticity. When Jungkook performs, he doesn't adapt to Western standards. He makes the world adapt to him. Even major Western labels reportedly took note of Hybe's phrasing in the statement, especially the part describing Jungkook as the universal embodiment of performance integrity. That's corporate language, but it translates to a simple truth. Jungkook has set a new global performance standard. Behind the emotional resonance of Hybe's statement lies an economic reality. Jungkook's global influence isn't just artistic, it's financial. Every release he touches affects market trends, from streaming traffic spikes to brand stock fluctuations. After the announcement, analysts noticed an immediate reaction. Hybe's market value rose sharply, proving that the company's public association with Jungkook carries tangible weight. Brands saw the same pattern. Calvin Klein's sales spikes during Jungkook's campaign had already been widely reported, but post-announcement, a new trend emerged. Companies began approaching Hybe to collaborate directly through Jungkook-centered campaigns rather than traditional corporate deals. In essence, Jungkook became a self-contained economic ecosystem. Hybe knows this. That's why their latest strategy appears to center on building infrastructure around Jungkook's creative leadership, from music collaborations to branded ventures. For the first time, an entertainment company isn't using an artist to grow the brand. It's using the brand to sustain the artist's expanding influence. This reversal is rare and powerful. It means Jungkook's identity has evolved beyond idol. He's an industry nucleus. Every time he releases a song, appears at an event, or posts online, entire sectors respond: fashion, entertainment, digital marketing, and global fan commerce all pivot simultaneously. While corporations calculate figures, fans feel meaning. To them, Hybe's announcement wasn't about business, it was about validation. For years, they've watched Jungkook push himself beyond exhaustion, striving for artistic precision that often went unnoticed by casual observers. Seeing Hybe publicly declare his historical importance was like watching justice unfold. Fans recalled moments when Jungkook questioned himself, when he spoke about wanting to show something more, or when he trained relentlessly before performances. The announcement became a collective memory, a symbolic acknowledgement of every drop of sweat, every sleepless night, and every song that carried his voice across borders. It also humanized him further, because behind all the achievements, Jungkook has always shown vulnerability. He never hides his fears of imperfection, and that honesty makes his victories feel shared. Hybe's statement might have been formal, but to millions of fans, it felt deeply personal, a moment that belonged to everyone who believed in him long before global institutions did. Jungkook's rise is also redefining leadership in entertainment. Traditional leaders command, Jungkook inspires. His leadership doesn't come from authority but from example. The people who work with him, dancers, stylists, producers, often describe the same thing: that he elevates everyone around him simply by existing in a state of constant effort. Hybe's announcement indirectly confirmed that his work ethic has now become the company's cultural model. The Jungkook standard isn't just about excellence, it's about integrity. It means giving everything without demanding recognition, focusing on substance over spectacle, and treating art as a lifelong pursuit rather than a performance. This standard now influences how younger artists under Hybe train, how global teams operate, and how executives measure success. It's not about who trends the fastest, it's about who lasts the longest, and Jungkook's durability is becoming the new measurement.